Okay, so today let's talk about improvising over a new coat of paint. And we're going to be talking about using a blues scale or a pentatonic scale. In order to do that, it's a very common device, so it's worth knowing. And as I said, even if you don't totally get into it, it's good practice just for single note picking, which you haven't done a ton of. So it'll be good for your overall technique. If you decide you enjoy that kind of thing, we can pursue it a little further. I will send you a tab of the notes, but I think we can talk about it initially without the tab. So as you recall, the first chord in New Coat of Paint is F minor, right? So there on the first fret, that first fret of the E string is an F note, so it only makes sense, doesn't it, that an F note would fit with F minor chord. So we're going to play the first fret of the high E string and the fourth fret. Okay? Not exactly like that. You can if you want, but I'm just showing you what notes we're going to be using. So we're going to be using this F and the fourth fret, which happens to be A flat. Incidentally, that A flat note is also a note in the F minor chord, so that kind of makes sense. Then we're going to go to the next string, the B string, and we're also going to play the first fret and the fourth fret on that. First fret is C, the fourth fret is E flat. So we have the first fret and fourth fret on the high E, the first fret and the fourth fret on the B string. Going down to the G string, we're going to play the first fret again, but this time we're going to play the third fret. The first fret is A flat, third fret is B flat. If you recall, when we talked about the high E string, the first note, the first fret is F, the fourth fret is A flat, the first fret of the G string is also A flat, an octave lower, A flat, and A flat. I'm pointing these things out because it's kind of good to be aware of them and not just mindlessly play notes based on just finger positions. Then finally what we're going to do, now it can involve more than this, but for our purposes, for starters, then we're going to go to the D string and we're going to play the third fret, which is also F. Same as the first note we discussed. So we have an F and we have an F. Putting all those notes together, starting on the high E, we have first fret, fourth fret, first fret, fourth fret, first fret, third fret, and then third fret. So I'm going to play them ascending starting now from the low F. Descending. So that's a pentatonic scale. It's actually in a major key. That would be called an A flat pentatonic. The A flat, key of A flat major is what we call the relative major to F minor. So it makes sense that the A flat major would be useful over F minor because they are relative major and minor scales. There'll be a lot more to talk about as far as notes we can use. This is really just a springboard So what you can start practicing is just practice playing those notes just sort of as a scale, ascending and descending. Because you want to develop a certain amount of technique and a degree of ease, and having those notes feel second nature, whereas so that you don't have to put a lot of effort into playing them. This way you can think more about the creative process if you're not also just thinking about fingerings and what notes to play. So as I said, for starters, just play them in any order you want. You can play them twice each. You can play them 3 times each. You can develop your own pattern. You can play 1, then 2, 1, then 2, 1, then 2, and then 1. I think you get the idea. The main thing is just to get comfortable. It's probably even better not to use a tab on this if you find this information clear enough, because you really don't want to be looking at a sheet of paper. Practice playing these notes, and then once you feel comfortable with them, practice closing your eyes and playing them, and just going through that pattern. Get a feel for where the strings are. Any order that you like. As I said, for starters, we just want to get really comfortable with the notes themselves. So go ahead and add that to your practice repertoire, and we'll pick up from there. There's really so much that can be said. So as I said, just look at this as laying a foundation for improvising, and then we'll go on from there. I assume you don't have any questions about the other stuff we talked about, and we'll kind of bounce back and forth between this and the other song that we recently started working on. So you can have plenty to do. Okie doke. Talk to you later.